A lot of people talking about him as being the best Western player, or at least the best Western jungler. And we'll get right into draft here at ThinkCard. Right out of the gate, they did ban that Aurora. That was something that you mentioned as well, as being one of these big playmaker champions for Mireu.
Yeah, Mireu he's so good on this champion. I'd be surprised if they ever let him touch it the entire series. And the Nico ban, they actually run some really nice Nico Nocturne and Nico Kai'Sa compositions. So getting rid of the Nico gets rid of that third pick Nico for Trymbi. And then you see the Wukong Pantheon bans coming in. Those are the two premier junglers at the moment. And the Rumble ban, that's the only champion we've seen him play. So get rid of the Rumble.
Makes sense.
And a first pick Azir. This is the nerfed Azir as well, but going for quad in game one. What do you think about that?
It's a good takeaway. I'm scared of Ziggs angles, especially in LTA South. There are some Ziggs players that started just playing the champion. It's very, very strong against Azir. It's quite frustrating to play against. Azir kind of likes being the longest range champion in the game. So when Azir has to fight by moving forward, that's when it can get exposed a little bit. So they really like the Varus as well. So maybe they go for some type of Varus Ziggs composition. Very pokey, making it so that the Azir has to struggle in team fights. And they take away the Jhin.
Okay, let's see. Does FlyQuest want to answer with something like a Trundle or something like that into the Jhin? We'll see what they want to do as far as the AD jungles, because Jarvan is also an option that people use right now as far as the other AD jungler options. Vi's definitely dropped down quite a bit in the priority.
Yeah, I love the Trundle response. I think Trundle would be really good here. There's a lot of really good Jhin players, and none of them like playing against Trundle. But the Jhin is still going to be good in team fights, so let's see what they do. The Jhin, very normal answer against the Varus. You don't really want to go Sivir on blue side here, which is another good answer in the Varus, because then you're exposed to the 3-pick Alistar, right?
Yeah.
So the Jhin does make a little bit of sense. I'm really curious what jungler they lock in. I think Trundle is the clear choice, but maybe they have some priority for top lane as well that we don't know about.
Yeah, I think Sejuani could be another one that Inspired really likes playing, and then he wouldn't have to worry about a Trundle counter pick, and they're actually just throwing down the Alistar early. Now, this has been a favorite from Busio, I feel like, for most of the year. Even though Rakan was his most played in Split 3, he's definitely loved playing Alistar.
Okay, so you could get an early Trymbi counter pick then, like you were talking about focusing on. So, you know, they could go for, you know, a very aggressive bottom lane into it.
You can go aggressive, you can go Bard. Bard has been doing really well, and it makes it so Busio can't play Bard for the rest of the series. So
True, that is a
You gotta keep those things in mind.
Yeah, so it does go both ways. He goes for Akali. Mireu, insanely good on Akali. So really excited for mid. I think Quad is honestly pretty okay with this. But Mireu, we saw some of the clips that I showed earlier. Insanely good on the Akali. They're going to go for a lot of these early skirmishes and team fights. And FlyQuest have to respect that power.
Yeah, I mean, you are making me extra nervous for mid lane matchup. I already kind of was coming into this, but then talking to Quad before the matchup, and he was like, yeah, I played against him when I was 15, and we were both trainees, and I would always win. And so I was like, okay, that sounds good.
That's a good memory.
That's what I like to hear. But he's 23 now, so that was quite a long time ago. And we'll see about the Akali matchup, because that one definitely, depending on jungle intervention, could be very spicy. But I do think the Poppy ban is very good, because the Poppy value versus in an Akali would be quite high.
Yeah, it's good. Poppy, it's been emerging as a good pick into Jhin, and they have the Akali already. So I still, maybe they don't care about the Trundle as much anymore because they have Akali. So maybe they let it through. I think the Rakan ban, very smart. They're doing good scouting. Trymbi loves the Rakan, and it survives late against the Alistar. Very good with Zhao as well.
Plus, when you look at what they've drafted for their first 3 picks on Vivo Star's side, there's not that big engage mechanism in there just yet to really start off a team fight or one of those highly impactful mid-game skirmishes the way that they'd want to. You can fish for picks with Chains of Corruption, but there's no huge go button just yet. Well, there is a big stop button right there on the Trundle, though, so that one's not coming through alongside the Poppy band away, and Renekton will be the last band of the draft here for FlyQuest.
I like it, but we also see, I think we're going to get a 5-pick top. I think they're saving counter pick for top. The Renekton ban is just for me to set up. I think they really want a specific champion on 4-5 for top lane. So we'll see what type of counter pick they have, but we still need to see the support. I kind of do want to see the Bard. Wow, they just take the Ambessa. So they're not going to save counter pick. They're taking the Ambessa away.
Oh, really interesting. They just want to power pick the Ambessa for Boal.
So, all right, what kind of things do you like? Obviously, the Renekton's really good into Ambessa, but that one's already, you know, taken out. So are you like a Yorick fan into it, or what are you feeling?
Yorick is good, but like once Akali gets like 2 items, I don't think Akali cares about Yorick at all. So I'd be curious. Maybe he goes Aatrox. Maybe. Oh man.
What?
No,
it's not locked.
Whoa, he locked it.
Oh,
That's not legal.
That's confidence. They play Gakgos in, and Gakgos immediately slamming the Irelia. This is a pick that, especially this year, a lot of LTA fans have some trauma with because 100 Thieves tried to use it, and this is a pick that can be very good in lane in a lot of situations, but becomes very difficult to play team fights with later on. So we'll see. This is a vote of very high confidence. If you add on the Ivern a supportive jungler, do you like it more now? Because it's actually a very good combo to have a lot of some melee options to put your shield in onto. And if Inspired does path to Gakgos, and try and play around an Irelia lane, which I think that you should do if you ever pick Irelia. It's played to Irelia lane. Otherwise, she gets ganked and becomes useless. All right, ThinkHard, how nervous / excited are you now?
I'm pretty excited. That was a massive curveball. Did not expect Ivern to be played in game 1 at all. We do end up getting the Bard. I love this takeaway. It's quite good against Azir. It's good against Jhin. Also, now you have Irelia versus Ambessa. You have to fight in those lanes. You have to. So having a Bard that's out first on the map is impacting side lane a lot. To me, this FlyQuest composition, it's a little bit disrespectful. It's just like, we're going to play Ivern, Azir, Irelia, and we're just going to kind of outclass you, and we're going to get to the point where you have to deal with this really strong Azir. But this right side has so many engage tools, has so many mid-game tools. I really like the way that this right side can move around the map.
So, before we let you go, as the timer ticks down here on draft, last question before you leave us. Who won draft here? FlyQuest or VivoCade?
I think Cade did win draft here.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. ThinkHard gives the vote of confidence to the LTA South #1 seed here after this first one. ThinkHard, thank you so much for lending us your brain here for this first draft. We'll try to get you back on here more throughout the day as the series continues. But now it's time to head on to Summoner's Rift here for the first time in this best of 5. The game 1 Irelia Ivern combo. Just some standard good old League of Legends, right? Nothing
Just
crazy here.
Totally normal. We've seen this plenty of times. I did just look up Gakgos all-time. Irelia is his 2nd most played in his professional career. And if we are to take FlyQuest at their word for what they said when they originally signed Gakgos, it was to bring in a unique champion pool to the top lane. And they are definitely putting that to the test here in game 1.
Yeah, it is a risky champion. It makes a lot of people nervous.
I'm very nervous immediately.
But I will say, Ivern is a jungle champ that can very easily play to camp a lane. And he could, go camp for this Irelia for Gakgos and try and accelerate this Irelia to become, very favored in a 1 versus Ambessa. So we'll see about the Ivern pathing here from Inspired and how tricky he gets with it.
It's always such an interesting champ for those early paths, too, because of the fact that the weird clear just gives him so many different types of options compared to standard junglers. But looking across the board here, seeing what we've got, it is baseline flash heal for both supports alongside the Summoner's Spellbook, so both of them opting for that creativity as the game goes on. Comment on the Varus means Morttheus should just be going for the standard lethality type of Varus, combined with some powerful poke at long range to try to whittle these guys down a bit. But again, man, Ivern teams can be so difficult to get them off of somewhere once they're already entrenched.
I actually really like that he's going with Ghost Flash too on the Varus, so he can dodge some root callers, dodge some Jhin skill shots, and make use of that mobility.
All right, well, the minions have collided, but while we're still at level 1, Kangas is standing by for an interview with FlyQuest coach Nukeduck.
All right, Nukeduck, we have to ask you, first game Irelia coming out here. Talk me through why that decision was made.
It's just something Gakgos is good on. He is like a very good mechanical player, and yeah, it's one of his good champs, and he thinks he can make it work there. So I mean, yeah.
So far, we've only seen him on the Rumble. So how much was getting him on Comfort a priority for you coming into the series?
I mean, the series is still yet to be played, but yeah, it is important that Gakgos is comfortable, because he's not that experienced. So. Yeah, it's a balance of getting him on comfort and making sure the guys that are experienced and are supposed to lead him also has a situation where they can do that. So yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks so much for talking with us. Back to the casters.
All right. I'm excited for this Irelia, man. I think it's such a flashy champion when it works, and obviously, based on the concerns we were talking about earlier, we know how it can also go the other way pretty quick.
Okay, well, you know, good things for him are that both junglers are pathing away, so the Jhin is not pathing up to the top side matchup either, and Inspired here is going to end up on the same side as the Jhin, is going to mirror on the bottom side, and Ivern does clear very quickly, as we see the trades getting down to 50% health there, but Ivern clears so quickly that he can go for the invade.
Yeah, and Inspired just getting more vision of the Jhin, not necessarily pushing him off the Gromp right now, but making sure they have control of the map. And I think the biggest thing about the Irelia lane is if you're not going to camp it, you need to make sure the other team isn't able to camp it. So as long as FlyQuest can keep Akali in mid and control this bot lane, they should be okay. But Inspired getting collapsed on.
Wow! Flash coming out from Trymbi there very early, trying to make the play on Inspired, but Inspired respectfully flashes in response as soon as he sees it, gets away.
Yeah, flash for flash here, and it is going to be top side Scuttle Crab for him instead, as he was chased off the bottom one, which does mean Busio and Massu have to back off, but they're completely fine with that after fully shoving the wave.
Big thing to always keep in mind with these Irelia lanes, since this is a champion we don't see much of these days. It's all about that passive, the Ionian Fervor. If he gets that thing stacked up with all 4 stacks, he's way scarier than if he doesn't have them. But now the engage here with the bottom side, Busio and Massu going in for the 2v2. Morttheus knocked down to about 300 HP there, forced to pop the Ghost to get away.
Oh, I like that. FlyQuest, they stick around in the bottom brush. They do a little brush surprise there for the FlyQuest duo, getting some extra damage. Meanwhile, top side, again, since we highlighted both junglers' path away from top side, it allowed Gakgos to have a lot of very favorable one-on-one time here versus Boal. He's got him whittled down, and Inspired can now shadow on the second clear for both junglers. And they already confirmed Jhin is top side, but full wave shoved here, so Gakgos is just fine.
All right, Boal just going to absorb the wave underneath the tier 1 turret there. Happy to just keep farming up as safely as he can, because right now, the biggest individual gold lead is Gakgos on that Irelia. Has been having a strong first 5 minutes of laning phase here in this game number 1. You can see he's always got this lane control, always got the priority. And it looks like Boal might go for his first reset here, but decides to cancel instead.
Yeah, Gakgos keeping up the pressure here. Used his teleport. Boal decides to hold on to his. Probably needs a little bit more money here for a more ideal buy.
Ooh, another nice engage coming out there from Busio, immediately followed up with the deadly flourish. It's such a nasty combo between the Alistar and the Jhin, but a nice piercing arrow back from VKS bottom lane means that they can at least trade something a little bit here.
For sure, and it looks like this game, at least at first, has a good amount of control in it. The Irelia is free pushing on the top side. The Azir is going even with the Akali, and I feel like FlyQuest is getting fairly favorable trades down on the bot lane. And something I've noticed about FlyQuest as well is they are a very disciplined team. They will only take fights when they feel like it is the right time in the game to do so. And a lot of times with Ivern, that's not super early in the game. So I'm not expecting FlyQuest to make any very aggressive plays early, as long as the Irelia is in a good spot.
I also want to point out Trymbi here. You know, this Bard has the opportunity to roam up to that solo lane as well, and he went for a Dark Seal on his first purchase. So Trymbi is expecting to get some stacks, to get into some early action here with the Bard. This roaming champion very well could find some timers to go punish the Irelia. Currently, though, since they've got control of the bottom side of Scuttle Crab, they push in on bottom side. They'll have full vision control of the dragon area.
Disamis has exactly what you want out of a team every time there's a bottom river Scuttle Crab. Every time that spawns, it's both Trymbi and Mireu collapsing on there just to make sure that if anybody wants to contest Zhao for that crab, it's not going to happen.
Okay, so Inspired could go instantly steal this red. He has a smite, so Ivern could just channel and smite instantly away red buff. If Zhao is not able to touch him, there is a blast cone, but he's too slow. Yoinkity yoink.
Gets the vision on the grubs too very quickly. I'd say the Akali was hunting for him a little bit with that River Ward, but Inspired ends up getting away with it. That's those small little Ivern victories. You always want to be able to steal the second respawn of a major camp, just because he's the fastest at actually clearing it once he has smite.
Exactly, and it's so frustrating from the other jungler's point of view. You get there just in time to see the red being stolen away, knowing it was just a couple seconds too fast. But gold between the teams really dead even right now after 7.5 minutes. But we do have the grubs spawning here in less than 30 seconds. Generally, that is going to result in some kind of a fight, or if nothing else, at least a trade for something else across the map.
And I actually really like this too, rushing for steel caps for Gakgos, because he's playing against a Jhin jungle in addition to Ambessa. There is huge value in reducing auto attacks for him, whether he gets ganked, or not. So gets some early armor, gets in there, and it looks like he is currently going back down to bottom side. His teleport will come up quicker, but I think the grub fight will probably be over by the time that teleport cooldown comes up.
About to happen.
All right. Disamis takes the first one of the grubs, hit by the root caller right after as Daisy continues harassing him here a little bit. Inspired does have the rest of FlyQuest coming up to support him now, as Vivo Stars are also going to bring in some additional reinforcements.
Yeah, Boal is actually moving up river, so FlyQuest, if they're going to fight, has to fight fast.
Okay, but the teleport for Gakgos might also be able to join, but it seems like FlyQuest are saying no. Again, this is that discipline that you were talking about, Jatt. They don't want to take the fight yet, so they're just going to pump the brakes on this one, and it means Vivo Stars get all 3 grubs.
It does, but it also means that while Boal left that bottom lane, Gakgos was trying to hold the freeze, so he denied a few minions from that lane. They're still getting a small advantage on that Irelia. The rest of the map, though, is pretty stable.
And it is a long lane down there, so we wonder, can he actually make a play post level 6?
He's going for it.
Tries to go in for the Vanguard's edge. Public Execution's not going to have a whole lot there for Boal. Gakgos needs a couple more auto attacks, but he forces the flash out of the VKS top.
And Boal already has no TP, so it's going to change the dimensions of the map. They're sending reinforcements with Jhin and Bard on the way.
Gakgos here, the confidence in game 1 on this stage is going to be able to push in the rest of the wave, but getting the solo flash blown and just trading ultimates there as well. The key, sidestepping the Ambessa ultimate that he was expecting to come out as Boal was running away.
Here. Bard is still in the river, so he's weak side right now. Gakgos needs to respect this.
Okay, it looks like
really well done. Really well done. All right, the Irelia's looking good so far.
Yeah.
100 CS, 99 CS before 10 minutes. Incredibly high CS per minute. Hasn't missed much. Fighting mid lane, though.
Yeah, Mireu wants to go in after quad, but immediately shuffled right back out of the smoke, and that means Mireu has to use the second part of his ultimate to disengage there. The perfect execution gets him right back to safety. Honestly, neither one of these mid laners too worse for wear, considering both ultis were committed and both teams had backup coming in.
Yep, exactly. Pretty fair trade there. Quad getting a decent amount of damage as he still has his support roaming around. Busio presence allows them to retain control here. Dragon's still not taken, by the way. So this is a very delayed Dragon Soul game. That's not going to be on the table early at all in this game, with the first one being so delayed. So we won't have that extra pressure. And we'll see as it does come down to the team fights. Inspired on a ward once again, though.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about this Irelia as well as this Ivern, so let's take a look at some of the records that we have. So Inspired has played more Ivern than most, I would say.
Yeah.
He was pulling it out at Worlds. He pulls it out in a lot of split finals last year. Overall 8-3 record as they're actually looking to crash a wave onto Gakgos' Irelia. And we're going to take a quick look at his Irelia stats as well. Not as impressive, but still his second most played all time at 4-4. They're going for Mireu.
Yeah, the curtain call. Mireu needs to sidestep this last one. Fourth shot flies in and goes wide left. Nicely played from Mireu.
Trymbi down here as well to try and help to make sure that Mireu will be able to collect the rest of the wave. The attempt there, very close. Not going to be able to find the kill, so nobody getting paid for it yet. And I want to see if they actually take the opportunity on the reset to then start up Dragon, because Massu goes back for his Ghost Blade at the moment. And it looks like on the mini-map, they are indeed going to go for that play during the reset. Teleport comes out from Gakgos, but that's back. Or actually not Gakgos, it was Quad's teleport to pick up the bottom side.
And it does feel like FlyQuest, aside from going for that kill onto the Akali, is not trying to take early team fights that could snowball the Akali out of control. Once they're getting a few more items on the Irelia and the Ivern, I think they'll be more confident to take fights.
Yeah, and you were talking about the Ivern itself. This kind of became a signature pick for Inspired at international tournaments. You were talking about Worlds, it was huge for them, and the way that they played it, they really did focus so heavily on their mid-game team fights and that as a way to victory. So they are staying pretty focused on that. Of course, the wrinkle this time around is Irelia. Irelia becomes a completely different champion when you get Blade of the Ruin King. So once Gakgos gets his Blade of the Ruin King...
Oh, that was close. Mireu landing the Shuriken flip there onto Quad, forces out the Emperor's Divide defensively, and then Mireu just uses perfect execution back through it to avoid the displacement.
And Quad no TP means he's going to lose a good chunk. They're already down a little bit of plating down in that bot side. Gakgos, though, staying aggressive, has got Busio on the way.
Yeah, he wants to go in here. He already missed the flawless duet, but Boal's trying to turn this one back around. The public execution to buy himself a little bit of time. Busio's already used the Unbreakable Will, and the Vanguard's Edge connects onto the Ambessa. Gakgos needs to continue putting the DPS in here. Nice use of the Pulverize to guarantee it from Busio, and it's Gakgos who picks it up. First blood over to FlyQuest.
First blood for Irelia. That will pay for his Blade of the Ruin King as well. And this champion, when you do get Ivern shields on you, Irelia can play quite a bit more aggressively, use that slow as well as the extra durability it's going to give you. He gets a turret play after it as well. So this is going to be a very good look for Gakgos, for Irelia in the opener.
A 1,000 gold advantage before 14 minutes. And I will say, as someone who's a bit of an Ivern connoisseur as well, having a fed Irelia is incredible. Melee carries are the best things for Ivern because you just make them have that attached slow. And just watching this one more time, Boal did buy a lot of time before dying, but he was caught in a pretty bad situation, so a pretty easy execute there for Gakgos. Good job getting the gold over. Plus, because at the moment that gank was happening, Bard was showing bot lane as well, so it allowed Gakgos to stick around for the extra play.
And I really want to credit Busio there, because Busio does a very good job pinstering on Boal, popping his ultimate immediately, and kind of pushing him back the other way to get the money into Irelia. So Irelia is going to be, the big, star and beneficiary there. But Busio, this is a guy that we have talked about all year long. Roam timers from him very big, and his move up to that lane might have huge ramifications for the rest of this game.
Well, you want to talk about roam timers. We've got a pretty important timer coming up here in 30 seconds as the Rift Herald is about to spawn. We can see both sides sending their players up towards that top side river. Is still slightly over a 1,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, most of that being concentrated on Gakgos' Irelia, but both neutral objectives thus far belong to Vivo Stars.
And the top lane is such a huge story for this game, obviously because Gakgos is subbing in for Bwipo for the entire series, but also for the side of Boal. He talked about it on the Pros podcast that we had. Before being picked up by this team, he had basically been retired for 2 years. But then, because of losing Gigo over to Thinkard and Furia, he got the call. So it really does mean a lot to him, and we'll see about the rest of that matchup. Right now, though, the tower gold would be a huge issue. Mireu also possibly going to be a huge issue. This guy could be a huge carry for VKS.
It's also just feats of strength going over to Vivo Stars because Inspired is bottom lane right now. They're not looking to contest this, it doesn't look like. They already have first turret, and this will be their third neutral objective when you include the 3 grubs. So that's feats over to VKS.
Yeah, nicely done by them, securing that extra boost in power for the shoes, plus the evolved shoe that you can buy later, but we're not quite at that point in the game here just yet. That first turret is also going to alleviate some of the pressure of the gold lead that FlyQuest had for themselves. And while it is still Gakgos with the 1,000 gold lead, the highest individual one in the game, the second highest individual gold lead is Mireu's Akali over Quad's Azir, and it's nothing to scoff at. Just about 700 gold there for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle of assassins, kind of. A couple of melee assassins there, basically. We'll see about the rotation over. It looks like it's just a hover there for Busio, though.
And I'm really curious with this next raid coming up in 20 seconds if FlyQuest is going to try and set up to fight or just try and get a little bit of gold. I will say, in these games where FlyQuest deprioritize neutral objectives, which is something they do fairly often, they usually wait until third Drake to fight.
Busio, though, again, camping for the Irelia.
There he goes, headbutt pulverized, immediately followed up by Gakgos, but now teleports are coming in, so FlyQuest does not want to overcommit underneath the enemy turret. Instead, they're going to play around the TPs. Mireu trying to find an angle here from an assassination, but he can't quite do it. Goes into the smoke to buy himself a little bit more time. Quad still looking as well. Busio's got to be somewhat careful here on the Alistar, but still has Unbreakable Will. Somehow, nobody's dead.
Yeah, it's interesting. He made the call. He goes for using his flash and saving his Unbreakable Will because he was thinking about the fight afterwards. To see if he would still be able to use this ability, Quad.
Ooh, Trymbi wanted to go for the flash Cosmic Binding there, but does not have the accuracy to put that pressure on Quad, who escapes it and doesn't even need to use his own flash. Now, of course, the cost for all of this going on topside was that Vivo Stars could secure the second Drake of the game for themselves on the other side of the map, and now Trymbi's under pressure. Busio's got to be careful as he is behind enemy lines. Unbreakable Will might not be that unbreakable. He goes on the magical journey through the wall, trying to escape. Disamis doesn't hit the wind, becomes lightning, and now it's Quad. Caught out by the Tempered Fate. Uses the Emperor's Divide defensively as Disamis tries to go over the wall, but he cannot stick to the targets. FlyQuest somehow gets both men out alive.
No way they get out of that! Oh my goodness! Busio actually lives, and so does Quad.
Man, and they don't even have to burn a flash on the way out. The question is usually, though, when they are in a 2v4 like that, they should be getting something on the other side of the map. They really weren't. I mean, Inspired was clearing a few camps. They got a little bit of vision in River, but they still don't have any real pressure on the mid or the bot turrets. So I'd say VKS is also fairly happy with the way this early game's been going.
Important thing to point out right there, you just saw Inspired hit level 11 as he secured that chicken camp. So level 2 Daisy now online for the Ivern. Very, very important to always be having Daisy active whenever you can. Huge part of the power budget for the champion is in the proper usage of that ulti, as we will see Morttheus here on the Varus, still just taking up his defensive position in the mid lane, clearing those waves out. Does have his first lethality item completed with the Ghost Blade for the extra mobility, sidestepping away from the Jhin, dodging out on some of those deadly flourishes and curtain calls. But these two will just continue trying to push the waves out back and forth. As Mireu versus Quad in the top lane, I think is going to continue to stay spicy as Mireu continues trying to look for angles here onto the Emperor.
Yeah, I mean, looking back at it, I guess, yeah, Busio's able to hold his flash because he just goes up to the wall and Trymbi kind of expects him to flash over it. So he does the little early magical journey. But yeah, okay, so Busio gets to hold his flash after all.
Yeah, max patience right there. I do feel like FlyQuest is also exercising a lot of patience as well, giving away the first 2 Drakes, the first Grubs, the first Rift Herald, the first turret, but they're getting as many minions as possible into Gakgos' pocket. Inspired has 2 core items now. He's going to hit that way faster than the Jhin due to the lower cost of support items on the Ivern. So I'm feeling like the time to fight will definitely be around this Otacon and 3rd Drake, and those are going to be the fights that really decide this game.
The time to fight is always around Otacon, Jatt.
1 kill in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I really am surprised at the overall low kill count in this first game. I know that a lot of times our game 1s in these best of 5s are the lower action ones as the teams are kind of getting a feel for each other and what to expect from the head-to-head. But this one, yeah, only 1 in 20 is a pretty small count as the Herald will drive it around the backside of the Dragon Pit. Okay, they're not going to get a whole lot more from that.
Well, this VKS team has a lot of threats, and so FlyQuest, they're not going to be able to afford to give over Otacon. They've given over a lot of objectives so far this game, as you guys have mentioned, but the Otacon takes so long to actually finish up, as well as is more dangerous, of course, than any dragons or grubs or herald or anything like that. So I think that FlyQuest, that's going to be the moment that they actually do choose, after they've gotten some time for their Azir to scale up. And they can really make use of the durability of Ivern plus Alistar. You see, this allows them to have an early spike of both Redemption as well as a Locket of the Iron Solari. Because you have Ivern, obviously, it doesn't mean, or it means that Busio doesn't have to rush the Redemption like so many supports have been doing, but that's a lot of team fight value with that heal and the shield from both those support items.
It is, but also Morttheus has built a Serpent's Fang on the Varus to try and cut through a lot of those shields. It's a very disciplined game from FlyQuest, but my concern here is even though Gakgos is in a good game state, we know how much Whippo normally advances the game for FlyQuest, and I do remember the last time that Gakgos subbed in, they were in an okay state mid-game, and they didn't seem to have that same killer instinct. So where do they advance the game from here now as VKS goes for a play?
Yeah, the Tempered Fate onto Gakgos to try to lock him up, but Defiant Dance to try to buy a little bit more time here. Gakgos is still fine, and now Disamis is going to be the target as FlyQuest moves in. They brought everybody down. Quad's ready to join up now too, and Vivo K-Star's got to be careful. The curtain call's firing off, and Disamis is already down. Boal trying to find his way into the back line, but now he's in the middle of 4, and he's going to get gunned down too. FlyQuest pick up 2, and Vivo K-Stars has nothing to say about it.
They try and make a pick on the new guy. Gakgos down here just stands strong. He fights it out, and the rest of FlyQuest were already very close on the map because Otacon is on the bottom side. Now they get to start it out here. VKS, though, they still have 3. They could go for more.
Keep your eyes on Mireu. The Akali is the one to watch. Varus and Bard are just going to be throwing out some poke if they can. No jungler available on the Vivo K-Star's side. Busio hanging out on this bottom side of the fight here. Ready to try to knock Mireu out. Trymbi goes in, tries to, but immediately gets locked down. It's the Otacon plus an additional kill for FlyQuest.
He wanted to steal it with his spellbook, but they've also nerfed spellbook smite. So it's also harder to get those steals in the first place.
And they know that giving away these objectives will really slingshot FlyQuest ahead in the game. There's so much standing gold still on the turrets. That's exactly the break that FlyQuest was looking for, that extended 1-minute sequence that started here. Note all the support items we just talked about. The locket, the redemption, it all flies in to prevent this gank from working.
Exactly, and you look at the mini-map, everybody rotated over very quickly, and then you also have the teleport from Azir. So Jhin only has flash for disengage. He can't get away from all of the long range here from FlyQuest. So that causes like this overcommitment. Boal as well, you know, ults in, and that with those 2 kills, then you can use your moments. FlyQuest, the patience we've been talking about all game long for this team, finally bears some fruit for them, you know, being able to punish that attempted play on the side lane, and the rewards are huge because Otacon slingshot, you know, with all those flowers as well as getting your dragon and stopping that stacking from VKS.
And as you can see here, FlyQuest actually has the highest win percentage in domestic play from all the major regions, ahead of CFO, Genji, G2, and AL. So they're trying to use that domestic strength to beat VKS here. Still close in gold, but I do feel like that last fight was really crucial.
I think that a big thing too about that fight is that Gakgos never panicked even after getting Bard ultimate. He didn't use his flash. Irelia wants to be able to be a very potent split pusher with this build. You can see he has you know, built up as well right here. So his split push with the hole breaker is very, very strong. His 1v1 is very, very strong. The on hit goes crazy with this Irelia, and with his flash, he actually can buy a lot of extra time. So it allows FlyQuest a few more options than if they had, you know, done any sort of panic in the last fight.
Yeah, not to mention, every time he's pushing up, Inspired's usually pretty close. At the very least, he's in redemption range to give him that extra effective health in any fight he might take.
Okay, it's a 1,500 gold lead for FlyQuest. They're feeling a lot better after picking up their first neutral objectives there. The Otacon was the first neutral objective FlyQuest got all game. Woo! Up until that point, Vivo K-Stars were running the show in that regard. But 25 minutes on the clock. Baron is now live. Trymbi hanging around in this topside river brush here around the mid lane as Morttheus, again, just going to try to keep these waves pushed out on the Varus. Stopping off for the Serpent's Fang. You mentioned it earlier, Jatt. I really like this when you're up against an Ivern and all these shields that are going to get spammed, but it does slow down the core items that you would generally expect Varus to be building, to be strong in the mid game with the poke.
Now, as far as Cade, we need to highlight their burst damage and their ability to pick off individuals. FlyQuest, they need to play, you know, as a 5-person group, or at the very least a 1-4 group, and try and make use of the double supports, basically, that they do have, since they're running Ivern, and make use of that, you know, very strong grouping. But VKS, they have such burst damage available to them, and the possibilities of picking someone off with both a Bard and a Varus here are something to look out for. So FlyQuest have to be very careful when they're controlling their vision. You can see they move very cautiously, and most of the vision for them right now is fairly defensive on their own side of the map.
Yeah.
Nobody is venturing into Cade territory to get any deep wards by themselves. They would have to go group.
It definitely feels like FlyQuest is still in scaling mode. So it's good that they stopped the soul point stacking from VKS, and it's good that they got the Otacon, but they're not really making aggressive moves yet. They might be waiting for Quad to get that additional item or for Gakgos to be 3 or 4 items up.
And here you can see it again. They're grouping. So FlyQuest, multiple members around mid lane, so they can have that caution around pushing and then move in to actually get vision control over Baron and then rotate over to a side lane here to kind of support each other in their map control. Now that the teleport is up for Quad on the Azir, they can also send Quad to the long lane. The Azir with a lot more extra mobility down there and with the multiple items completed will feel fairly confident. At the very least, grabbing up the extra waves and putting down his Azir turret.
Confidence from Gakgos up there in that top lane as well. You could see he was not shy about jumping onto Mireu, looking to pick a fight with the most fed player on the enemy team. Both of these solo lane carries about to hit that level 16 point as well. So big opportunity for some huge contributions to the next fight.
That's a great call, Flowers, because he's also building for it. Gakgos, built in to the extra Wit's End magic resist. So the on hit here from Irelia is massive, massive, massive. He's almost level 16 there, and he's kind of building to go like attack Akali and try and like push that champion out of the fight. But Busio here,
yeah, Busio wants the headbutt pulverize, and now Trymbi's magical journey. He can't even get in the portal before he's picked off. Busio sets up another one for FlyQuest.
And just a nice CC lock. Alistar, Ivern, as well as the Irelia stun will give them this next Drake, likely uncontested. So FlyQuest playing it very safe on the outset, but when they need to move in for an objective are doing so with pinpoint precision.
And again, the grouping there, really nice from them. They move up in a squad, all in the same timers. Akali's flanking though.
Yeah, but immediately they got to be careful. Disamis now locked up by Busio. The redemption comes down. FlyQuest staying topped off in terms of HP. The Mountain Drake was already secured by Gakgos. Mireu was hanging around that area, was looking at that pincer attack, but just could not find the angle or the opportunity.
And I love how much they are playing around the new guy. They're making him as comfortable as possible. 2-0-3 on this Irelia, 100% co-participation, and now another fight in mid.
Yeah, Quad got caught out there by the magical binding, but now onto Mireu. So even though he's in the smoke, there's nothing that he can do. He's CC'd the entire time. Couldn't get a chance to go any further forward.
Let's see, Gakgos should be able to get the turret on bottom side for payment too. I mean, it does cost you Busio's ultimate. That is not very big of an expenditure for FlyQuest. Good denial there. He's just basically the bodyguard on the squad, pops his ultimate, breaks the Varus ultimate. Gakgos gets extra solo tower gold here. The Irelia continues to get fed. And this Irelia, again, with the power of an Ivern behind him, as well as the extra Locket Shield from Busio, can just go crazy.
We've been talking about how slow FlyQuest is playing it. We've been saying that they're scaling, that they're wanting to hit these big item breakpoints. Infinity Edge just purchased from Massu. The Wit's End that you mentioned, Kobe, fully completed for Gakgos, making him so strong. Quad's got to be getting close to having his next item completion on the Azir there as well. I feel like we have to be approaching critical mass here for FlyQuest.
We are, and you can see Gakgos, 12,000 gold, richest player in the game. Checking out the experience as well with all the side laning he's been doing. Also the highest level in the game, 76% of the way to level 17. So it's time for the Irelia to get involved. I completely agree.
I mean, every target is a kill target for him. There's no tank on that enemy team. He can definitely go after anyone who steps up from Cade. Cade, though, they do take away the blue buff during this time. There's still plenty of vision they have not been able to clear out. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any sort of pick at the moment. I'm kind of curious about the side lane right now because it seems like Mireu is just completely ceding the push to Gakgos, and I think he pretty much should at the moment with the extra magic resist over there. But when you have a Bard roaming around, it gets really interesting. If you can blow the Irelia flash early on with the Bard ultimate, then Irelia becomes a very real target to try and pick off. It's just that I feel like Gakgos has not been under any pressure this entire game. And the one moment that Cade tried to pressure him in the side lane, all of FlyQuest was close enough, and they had the extra teleport to fully respond.
I'd also say for as much as he's farming, he's done a lot of freezing. Like, he's oftentimes killing waves in safe positions, and FlyQuest has been in a very defensive posture for almost the whole game. So it's been difficult for VKS to try and slow the Irelia down, but now with everyone grouping in mid lane, surely they're going to be waiting for some type of fight to break out. Yeah, Busio might be going in.
Yeah, he looks for the angle. Headbutt pulverized. Does find the engage with the redemption coming in for Vivo. Stars now inspired. Got to be a little bit careful as Mireu jumps in, but immediately pops the stasis, making sure that FlyQuest can't immediately retaliate. Now Mireu tries to escape, but it's Quad who goes in for the Emperor's Divide. Nice flash away coming out from Mireu, keeping himself alive. Disamis now has to get out here as well. Boal on the flank, but he can't find a kill. Mireu is down. Morttheus is going to go with them. Vivo Stars are bleeding, and FlyQuest holds the knife. Cade loses 3, and FlyQuest marches over to Baron.
The Ivern shields are just too much. FlyQuest makes that fight as long as possible. Even though Busio's initial engage didn't catch anyone for sure, there was an extended re-engage where Gakgos just got to keep hitting. Now 4-0-4 on that Irelia.
And Quad gets to go melee of Jhin. Quad goes in melee, chasing the kill target here, and he's able to live. So let's take a look at it. Here is the initial engage. FlyQuest then kite back during it, but Mireu is the target, and Mireu getting chunked out here. Then Quad goes for it. He even flashes in, and he doesn't care that there's a Jhin on him. A shield goes down on Quad, and that's all they even get through. So then, after everything's been opened up, the Irelia does get to just prey on the rest of the members, rip them apart, and FlyQuest Ivern here, able to keep everybody alive, everybody safe, and allow them to collect the Baron.
Death's Dance completed onto Gakgos as well now. Next Drake 30 seconds away. I feel like they're just going to keep setting up around these objectives now with the 7,000 gold lead. This is really the comfort zone when you're with Ivern because they're likely able to set up first unless VKS can start the fight early.
Good body block there from Busio.
Okay, Tempered Fate finds Massu, but there's no way for anybody else to follow that one up. So Bard ulti down for VKS.
And FlyQuest is slow playing this. Gakgos has the teleport. He already took the top turret. Might be looking for more, but I would love to see him arrive for this Drake fight. He has Baron, though. He can get a lot done.
Yeah, he can get that tower probably. This Mountain Dragon will go down quickly, though.
Okay, FlyQuest on the approach with the 4-man push. Gakgos still working on the tier 2 turret up there on the top side, but now he is going to teleport down and be ready to join the fight. Daisy tanking up everybody here for now as Disamis has already lost half of his HP before the fight even really starts. Quad goes golden. Into the back line go Mireu and Boal, but they can't find the targets they need. Morttheus is already down. A double kill for Quad. The fight's already over for VKS as Boal and Disamis have to run away. The Dragon goes to FlyQuest, and 2 more kills do too. Mireu tries to escape, but Quad is aggressive with the teleport. He wants to keep the pressure on here with the Baron. Busio goes over the wall, long range, deadly flourish, curtain call opens up. Mireu survives the first 2. He dodges the 3rd and the 4th shot. Claims it's poetry. FlyQuest 11-0, and they're on the push.
They waited 34 minutes, but then they really struck. This Baron power play already at 6,000 gold. They're continuing to push.
They're already through the first inhibitor turret. That first inhibitor falls right after. Gakgos putting the pressure on the second lane, but really, they still have the enemy carries dead for the next 30 seconds. Disamis trying to jump in the middle of everybody, but Trymbi is already down. Boal can't find an entry point, and now another deadly flourish locks him up too. FlyQuest are just dog piling in, and Morttheus will fall on the steps of his own fountain. The ace to end the game. 15-0 for FlyQuest. They'll take game 1.
The control and the discipline of FlyQuest is on full display. They bring back the Ivern special, and Busio goes to camp for this top lane Irelia that absolutely popped off Gakgos.
And Lounge, what do you think about a 10,000 gold Baron power play to cap off that FlyQuest victory?
They'll all along. We're gonna do it, baby. 15
No, don't believe in me. Believe in FlyQuest.
Believe in FlyQuest. Believe it. What a showing, specifically from the new guy Gakgos coming in.
Yeah, I was a little nervous about the Irelia pick. I think the Ivern pick, though, was really what brought this entire composition together. You have Gakgos on something he's super, super comfortable with, made his name on, all the protection and shields in the world for him.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it's almost less about Gakgos and